Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed. At 1,000 subscribers, I'll be posting a special video. The unknown number rings again, twice, while I lock the office. I let it die, then it rings harder. I swipe and hold my breath. A whisper, "Come home now," then the line breaks. A second call hits before I exhale. Same number, same pressure in my chest. I answer on speaker and grab my bag. "I'm Dan, 33. Tell me what changed." Silence crackles like a threat between beats. Then a new voice, "Your mother needs you tonight." A pause, paper rustling, then the address. Community Hall, side door, 8 sharp. Alone. My screen lights with a fresh text. From Mother. "Please, no questions. Just come." Then another, "Everyone will listen this time." My legs move before my mind agrees. I take the stairs 2 at a time. Lobby mirror flashes my face. Tired, wired, ready. Outside, a rideshare idles like it expected me. I climb in and watch the city blur. The driver glances once, eyes flat on duty. He says route changed, roadworks, trust the detour. I nod and check the messages again. A new one pops, she wants to retract everything. A group chat blinks awake after years. Uncle drops a pin near the hall. Sister writes, "I'll wait by the alley." Then a final line, "Recorder will be on." My throat tightens as another ping lands. Unknown sender this time, clipped and careful. "Open your email before you arrive." Subject line, "For Dan only, do not share." I tap mail and see one attachment. Audio file, 30 seconds, timestamped last night. I plug in and press play. Her voice. "Meet me, I'll explain. I'm sorry." The driver brakes hard near a red light. He mutters sorry and checks his mirror. I loop the clip and listen closer. On the third pass, I hear scratching, papers. A final message jumps in and freezes me. From Mother again. "Pastor will mediate, lawyer records." Then 5 words that shift the ground. She named the real person. Finally. We stop beside the hall's dark wall. My phone vibrates once, then goes quiet. Sister appears near the alley and waves. I step out and kill the screen. Ready. Sister grabs my sleeve and pulls me down the alley. Her breath runs fast like she sprinted here alone. She shoves an envelope into my palm. "Open it after you hear the first lie." We stop at a side door with a buzzer. She wipes her hands on her jacket and listens. Muffled voices bleed through thin walls, tense and clipped. Someone inside mentions my name twice. A volunteer opens and blocks the threshold with authority. Phones off, bags checked. No exceptions tonight. Sister powers hers down and nods at me. I pocket mine and lift my eyes. Ready. Mother waits by a folding table, shoulders tight. She looks older yet held together by purpose. She leans in close and whispers without preface. "There were threats outside earlier. We posted someone." A man with a lanyard steps from a corner. He introduces himself as the notary, voice steady. He places a short form on the table. "Consent to recording and distribution, necessary for accountability." I scan the lines and feel my jaw lock. There's a clause barring edits without written approval. "Remove that line and I'll sign now." He hesitates, then crosses it out. "Initial here." A second sheet slides forward under his hand. "Release of claims for tonight's statements, limited duration." Mother watches my face and presses her lips. She says this keeps us from derailing. "Please." I write my initials in small, careful strokes. The pen scratches loud in the quiet room. Sister exhales and looks toward the inner door. They're waiting in a circle. "Get ready." A text vibrates before I pocket the phone. Blocked number promises trouble if I push anything. Sister reads over my wrist and stiffens hard. "He was here earlier, security walked him out." I look for security and catch a nod. A guard leans near the hall and taps an earpiece. He mouths "all clear," then gestures to move. My pulse answers with a drumbeat. Not fear. The inner door opens and the pastor appears. He holds a small recorder like a neutral tool. He meets my eyes and keeps the doorway narrow. "We start in 2 minutes." Everyone agreed. Mother touches my arm and studies my face. Her voice is barely sound over the buzzing door. If you feel cornered, walk out immediately. I answer with a single nod. Understood. Sister tilts her head toward a smaller room. We step inside for a brief intake moment. A clipboard waits with seats marked by initials. Mine sits opposite hers. Across the aisle. She points to a paper clipped under mine. Handwritten lines list order of speaking, time slots. Cousin first, then me, then questions from two. Notary observes and clocks every exchange. Strict. I slide the envelope into my jacket lining. Sister taps it twice like a silent oath. Read only if they twist sequence or omit something. I nod and feel the edges sharp. The pastor knocks once and signals positions now. Sister squeezes my shoulder, then takes a bench. Mother closes her eyes and breathes through counting. I step into the hall and face the circle, waiting. A timer beeps once and the circle quiets. Chairs scrape into place like a signal. The mediator lifts a hand and sets rules. Cousin stands without looking at me. Start now. She places a small phone on the table. Screen cracked, battery low, message thread open. She says these are from last month. The mediator taps record and nods. Proceed. A voice note plays with hiss and threats. Male voice orders her to keep the story. He mentions my name and a deadline. Cousin flinches and hits pause. There's more. She scrolls to a photo with a timestamp. A car plate fills the image, numbers clear. She says he waited outside her job. My hands curl on my knees. Stalking now. Uncle shifts and clears his throat. Eyes down. He asks if police were contacted already. Cousin lifts the phone and shakes her head. He knows where my kid sleeps. Pause. The mediator writes 2 lines and looks up. We will file a report after this. He asks if she retracts the accusation today. Cousin nods and faces the recorder. Yes. I lean forward and point at the phone. Where did that device come from originally? She answers softly and slides a receipt across. Purchased with cash yesterday, surveillance proof. Mother reaches into her bag and freezes. She pulls a folded letter with careful fingers. Addressed to the family from an attorney. It confirms a written retraction, draft enclosed. The mediator reads the header and exhales. He asks permission to attach it officially. Cousin whispers do it and wipes her face. My heart steadies then spikes. What's the catch? Uncle rises and faces me with effort. He admits pushing the rumor during arguments. He apologizes to the room, not me. I keep my eyes on the recorder. Continue. The notary stamps a page, movements precise. He asks me for a short statement now. I confirm receipt of the draft retraction. I request distribution to every recipient. Full list. Sister stands from the bench and gestures. Security at the door signals a disturbance outside. The mediator raises a palm and mutes audio. We hold positions while footsteps gather. Incoming. The door shutters twice and the guard plants his feet. A voice from the hall barks for entry now. The mediator raises one finger and keeps us seated. My palms hover over the table, braced. A second thud rattles the hinges and then stops. The guard checks a peephole and stiffens at once. He calls for backup with clipped words. The room holds its breath, waiting. A paper slides under the door like a blade. Sister snatches it and scans the scrawl. She passes it to me without blinking. 2 lines threaten exposure unless we cancel. Now, I place the note beside the recorder deliberately. The mediator photographs it and nods to the notary. Chain of custody, he murmurs with practiced calm. My shoulders drop an inch, documented. The guard opens a gap and speaks through it. Name yourself and step back 2 meters. A man answers with a laugh and a cough. Sister's eyes flare. It's him. Mother reaches for my wrist, then lets go. Her lips form no, but her jaw hardens. The mediator flips the switch and restarts audio. We proceed under protest. Continue. Cousin stands and squares her stance toward the entrance. She unlocks her phone and opens a folder. New file, fresh timestamp, 1 minute long. She taps play and keeps her gaze forward. A recording plays with wheels on gravel and breathing. Then his voice, close and sloppy, demanding money. He orders silence and mentions the child again. Cousin clenches her fists. Enough. The notary marks time and points at the guard. The guard nods and speaks into the radio. Police en route with an estimated minute count. My pulse steadies on that number, close. Uncle rises halfway and looks toward the exit. He whispers, "Let me talk to him once." The mediator shakes his head with a firm gesture. No sidebars during a recorded session. Sit. A phone buzzes on the table and jumps. Unknown caller flashes with the same prefix. I decline and slide it face down to still it. Sister mouths block later, focus. Cousin steps toward the recorder and clears her throat. I retract entirely and accept legal follow-up. She breathes out and adds one more piece. He coached lines with threats, on video. She shares the screen to a small monitor. We watch his reflection while he feeds phrases. He tests versions and times her responses. Mother grips her chair, fury contained. The mediator turns to me with level eyes. Any questions before we formalize distribution today? I point at the plate photo on file. Run it through their system. Confirm ownership. The guard's radio crackles with a clipped update. Units outside identified a matching vehicle nearby. Windows covered, engine warm, driver refusing commands. We all glance at the door. Ready. A bang echoes from the parking lot like a cue. The guard signals down and we lower our heads. Footsteps rush past and someone shouts, "Get down." Cousin flinches, then resets. Finish this. I slide the envelope from my jacket lining. I break the seal and reveal 2 items. A prepaid receipt and a SIM blister. Both purchased yesterday near her workplace. Corroboration. Cousin's face drains, then sets into resolve. She points at the receipt and nods firmly. He waited outside and watched the purchase. I logged the time. Compare. The notary stamps an addendum and adjusts his case. Distribution order will go to every prior recipient. He asks for best addresses for rapid delivery. Mother provides a compiled list. Complete. The mediator cues me for a concise statement. I accept the retraction and demand immediate circulation. I request an apology delivered in writing today. Cousin meets my eyes. Agreed. Sister checks the door as sirens cut close. The guard cracks it open and leans out. He returns with news stripped to essentials. Driver detained and vehicle secured. Safe. The mediator presses stop and announces a short recess. We stand but keep positions near our chairs. Uncle approaches me with hands slightly raised. He asks for 1 minute, private. I step sideways where cameras still capture angles. Speak here where everything remains on record. He swallows and unpins a small key. He places it on the table. Locker. That key belongs to a rental downtown. Inside are printed copies and a flash drive. He looks at the floor and exhales sharply. He stored messages months ago. Insurance. The mediator returns and hears the final sentence. He directs the guard to secure the locker. Sister nods and motions to the side exit. I follow them out, brisk. In the corridor, a volunteer hands me gloves. We move quickly toward an unmarked door. The guard dials dispatch and requests an escort. I feel the key bite my skin. Present. We step into the night air and pause. 2 patrol cars idle near the curb. An officer waves us forward with clipped gestures. He asks about the container address. I answer with the street and storage number. He writes it down and radios the team. He asks who holds legal access right now. I lift the key halfway, witness. The mediator catches up and joins our group. He reminds everyone to keep record running. The officer nods and attaches a body cam. We head for the cruiser tight formation. Mother remains at the hall and watches us leave. Her stare follows until the door swings shut. Cousin presses her hands together and breathes slowly. She whispers, "Finish this tonight, please." We enter the car and doors seal firm. The radio spits coordinates and short confirmations. I grip the handle and count each block. Every turn thumps through my chest. Forward. The officer checks mirrors and gives quick updates. Another unit reaches the facility ahead of us. They will hold the corridor for collection. I nod once. Almost there. We pull beside the gate and step out. A manager appears with a clipboard and frown. He relaxes when the badges flash in sequence. He waves us through. Keys ready. I find the locker and fit the key. Metal clicks and the door swings open. A single shoebox waits with a rubber band. I lift the lid-proof stack tight. Inside lie printed threads and a thumb drive. Dates match the recordings from earlier tonight. Screenshots show drafts and edits with his handle. My breath leaves in a rush, undeniable. The officer photographs each layer with methodical care. He seals evidence bags and notes serial numbers. He hands me a receipt for personal copies. The rest goes with them logged. The mediator asks one final on-camera question. Are you satisfied with tonight's preservation steps? I answer yes and request immediate scanning. He agrees and taps the recorder resume session. We head back to the hall in silence. Cousin waits near the door with wet eyes. She asks if the locker had everything promised. I lift the receipt and nod once. Complete. The mediator resets the chairs and cues continuation. He invites formal signatures and closing statements. I step forward and take the pen. My hand stops above the line, one more thing. I keep the pen hovering and raise my hand. Before signatures, we read the distribution list aloud. No edits after the blast goes out. The mediator nods once. Proceed with verification. The notary opens a template and clears his throat. He asks for recipients in strict sequence. Mother recites addresses while the recorder runs. I add workplaces and old family threads. Include all. A radio chirps near the door and interrupts us. Security answers and turns toward the hallway. Patrol wants a brief patch through now. Put him on speaker, record everything. A metallic click, then a familiar drawl fills air. You cancel tonight or I post new proof. I lean toward the mic and speak flat. Evidence has been secured. Think very carefully. He laughs once and drops a name inside. Check the aunt with the green scarf. Everyone pivots toward her bench in sync. Her hands dive to her purse. Busted. Security advances and raises an open palm. She freezes, then pulls a tiny card. Just photos for a friend, she mutters. The notary steps forward. Inventory that immediately. A shallow tray appears on the table. She places the card and a second phone. The mediator announces a custody transfer. The recorder captures every movement, locked. I return to the line and ask one question. Who told you about the meeting tonight? He grunts and breathes through the mic. People talk when money moves. Tick-tock. The officer cuts in with clipped patience. End of patch. Suspect remains in custody. We will debrief after formal statements. The line dies. Silence presses closer. Cousin rises and grips the lectern edges. She faces the recorder and takes aim. I retract the accusation in full today. I harmed my cousin and my family. Apology. She swallows and continues without breaking eye contact. I name M as the instigator and beneficiary. He directed messages and staged threats for leverage. I agree to cooperate with charges entirely. The notary prints the signed draft from his case. He places 2 copies for immediate signature. The mediator points to the witness lines. Sister steps forward and initials both, firm. A patrol officer enters with a sealed envelope. Vehicle search yielded handwritten scripts and drafts. Time-stamps match tonight's recordings and screenshots. He lays the report on the table, corroborated. I ask the mediator for a simultaneous release. Email batch plus the family thread plus workplaces. He nods toward Mother and lifts a finger. Do it live. Confirm in the room. Mother opens the thread and pastes the statement. She hits send while the camera watches. Replies pop fast with disbelief and noise. She holds the phone steady. Keep reading. A cousin writes lies layered over new lies. Another threatens lawyers and scorched earth. Then an older uncle types 3 short sentences. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I'll help. I turn to the notary with a new request. Prepare a cease and desist draft tonight. Cover reposts and harassment after this release. He adjusts his kit. Can issue immediately. The aunt in the scarf jolts to her feet. She points at me and spits the word liar. Security angles between us without touching her. She storms for the exit, doors thud. Cousin scans her phone and goes pale. Her banking app shows transfers to M. Dates align with earlier threats and visits. She flips the screen toward the recorder logged. The mediator marks the moment and resets the timer. We return to signatures with tight focus. I sign the acceptance and distribution clauses. Ink dries as the room leans in. Finally, an officer requests short statements in the foyer. He lines us by role and relation. We deliver concise versions on camera. No commentary beyond facts, crisp. My turn arrives and I breathe once. I confirm harassment, stalking, and ongoing coercion. I request charges and protective conditions immediately. He nods and ticks boxes. Next step. Back inside, the pastor retakes his position. He asks for final commitments to compliance. Everyone raises a hand in view. The recorder captures the count, unanimous. A shrill alarm rips through the ceiling without warning. Security curses and waves us to the exit. We follow the arrowed signs in a rush. My folder stays clamped under my arm. Secured. Outside, cuffs glint through a squad car window. M. twists and shouts at our group. Cousin goes still and steps behind my shoulder. An officer warns him once. Quiet. A second sedan screeches beside the curb. A man jumps out and throws his weight. Police close ranks and push him back. He points at me and yells extortion, recorded. The mediator joins us under the awning. He raises his voice enough for the mic. We reconvene inside after the fire check. He looks at me. Still willing. I answer with one condition and hold up paper. We send the retraction to press tonight. Local outlets get the file and the timeline. The notary nods. I'll handle distribution. Mother touches my sleeve and asks softly, "Come home after this or find a room." I glance at the squad car and answer, "I'll rest when the post goes public." Non-negotiable. Cousin approaches with damp lashes and grit. She offers her phone for a final act. Post the video coaching with the statement. Blur the plate and the child's name now. The mediator checks legal boundaries with a glance. Educational purpose and public interest both apply. The officer agrees with one strict caveat. No minors on screen, redact everything identifiable. We step back inside as the alarm stops. Chairs return to their places without chatter. The notary sets the stack for digital scans. He slides a copy to me, immediate proof. The pastor gives the floor to me briefly. One line for the recording and the family. I accept the retraction and refuse private reconciliation. Trust returns after restitution. Not before. My phone buzzes with an unknown editorial number. A message asks for comment on rumors. I forward it to the notary untouched. All media inquiries go through counsel, standard. Sister leans close and whispers without looking up. Comments are turning around in the thread. Old neighbors retract and apologize in writing. She shows me 3 lines, progress. The door opens and the officer reappears. Arson team cleared the building for use. A prank pull with Prince captured nearby. He eyes the squad car, guess who? We resume with the closing signatures and seals. The notary presses his stamp on the final page. He raises the document for the camera. Executed tonight in full witnessed. The mediator schedules courier pickup with brisk efficiency. Packages leave within the hour for recipients. Mother signs the last envelope and exhales. Cousin presses send on the public post. Launched. I stand there and feel the room tilt. 10 years tighten into a single breathing moment. Outside, sirens fade into regular city noise. Inside, the recorder's light holds steady. Still rolling. Phones light up across the hall as comments flood. The facilitator raises a hand and points at me. One last item before we close. I step forward and brace. What now? A uniform enters with a small recorder bag. He requests a longer interview in a side room. 15 minutes, body cam on, brief questions. I agree and glance at my sister. Ready. We sit facing the camera and sync time. He confirms my identity and tonight's sequence. Then he asks for the first threat received. I name the date and push the envelope, evidence. He logs each item with a numbered sticker. The clerk scans barcodes and photograph signatures. My answers stay short and focused. He nods and shifts to safety concerns. Immediate. Will you pursue a restraining order tomorrow? Yes, include digital channels and workplace premises. He writes quickly and circles 2 lines. Expect a hearing within days. Stay reachable. We return to the main room in sync. Mother stands and watches for any movement. The staffer at the door signals clear. Cousin wipes her face once. Continue. A laptop pings with a new download alert. The clerk announces copies uploaded to a vault. He grants read access to named parties. I receive a link and test it. Open. The facilitator asks for restitution terms on record. I request costs for counsel and transport. Also a written apology sent to employers. Cousin nods and looks straight ahead. Accepted. The door cracks as a reporter peeks inside. Press credentials flash above the threshold briefly. The staffer blocks and checks the list. Approved after release goes live, wait outside. My phone buzzes with a voicemail marked urgent. Human Resources wants confirmation of tonight's news. I forward the retraction with the stamped seal. A reply lands fast. We've got you. Uncle edges close and raises both hands. He produces a prepaid envelope from his pocket. Inside sits a statement already notarized. He offers it toward the table contribution. The clerk reads the header, then whistles once. It's an admission of rumor spreading online. He adds it to the packet silently. I study Uncle's face. Uneasy gratitude. The facilitator clears his throat and checks the clock. 2 minutes left for final additions. Anyone holding relevant files step forward. A volunteer lifts a tablet. One more upload. The tablet shows a chat log with handles. Messages discuss my address and movements. Dates line up with surveillance outside jobs. Cousin stiffens and points. That's him. The officer leans over and records the screen. Chain preserved and sender identified through recovery. He radios a unit for a warrant. I breathe once and hold the table edge. Steady. Mother approaches me with a folded note. She writes 3 words and tucks it away. You are safe tonight. Her hand stays on my shoulder, weighty. The facilitator ends the session with a beep. The red light goes dark and stays. We share a quick look around the circle. No one moves first. Suspended. Sister breaks the pause with quiet resolve. We notify the child's school before morning. She drafts the email while I watch. Cousin approves the phrasing. Immediate alert. Another ping from my inbox interrupts us. Legal counsel acknowledges the file receipt. They propose a morning consult by video. I respond with a thumbs up. Confirmed. The officer returns with fresh information clipped. Search warrant signed for the suspect's apartment. Execution scheduled within the hour. He asks for any spare codes. None. We step into the hallway for air. Reporters cluster near the rope line. I hold up the stamped retraction page. They quiet as cameras rise, hungry. One question hits me clean and direct. What do you want from the family? I keep my eyes on the lens. Boundaries and repair through action, nothing else. A car horn blares from the street abruptly. The staffer stiffens and signals the team. Police reposition between doors and curb. I slide back inside. Controlled retreat. Cousin meets me by the water station. She speaks low and very clear. I'll testify without hesitation under oath. I nod once, counted. The clerk joins us carrying 2 flash drives. One for you and one for counsel. He verifies checksums on the screen. Data matches the vault. Secure. Mother gathers coats and hands me mine. Her voice holds steady despite shaking fingers. Sleep somewhere guarded tonight, please. I scan options and choose the hotel. Downtown. The facilitator prints a brief summary for records. It lists actions, contacts, deadlines. He hands copies to each principal quietly. We sign the bottom line acknowledgement. A deputy escorts cousin to her car. Sister rides along for the route home. They promise to text on arrival. I watch their taillights disappear, focused. My phone buzzes with 2 new messages. First, the school confirms receipt of notice. Second, the workplace posts the retraction internally. Staff comments start to shift, supportive. The officer waves me back toward the foyer. One more detail before you leave. He places a small card in my palm. Direct line for overnight updates anytime. We exit through a side corridor together. Rain ticks on the pavement and gutters. He checks the street and nods permission. The cruiser follows me to the hotel. Shadowing. At the desk, I show my ID calmly. A clerk recognizes the situation instantly. We can list you as confidential. Do that and keep calls filtered, necessary. In the elevator, my phone rattles again. An unknown number leaves a single emoji. A snake followed by a clock. I screenshot and forward to the officer logged. The room door shuts and locks twice. I place the folder on the desk. Laptop opens with a soft mechanical click. I start a timeline document, minute by minute. Emails hit while I type the lines. Apologies arrive in short, awkward bursts. Some include screenshots retracting older posts. I tag them and archive, categorized. A final message lands from the facilitator. Courier picked up and scanned the packets. Receipts attached with tracking numbers appended. I copy them to the timeline of filed. Midnight creeps across the status bar slowly. The officer texts a brief coded update. Apartment entry successful and devices retained. No injuries reported. Processing. I stand and check the peephole once. Nothing moves outside the hallway carpet. I take a breath and roll my neck. Tomorrow brings the courthouse early. My screen lights with one more alert. Cousin reached home and locked every door. Sister stays on the couch for now. I send a single dot back. Here. I power the phone to vibrate only. Laptop lid lowers with a gentle thud. I keep the folder within arm's reach. Sleep comes in short guarded waves. Ready for the next hit. I wake with the phone buzzing on the nightstand. A new voicemail from an unknown office. Court clerk requests my presence before 9. I splash water on my face and moving. Downstairs, a patrol unit idles by the curb. The officer lowers his window and gestures me in. We sync the time on his dash recorder. Headed to the courthouse, direct route. At a light, my inbox pings 3 times. Work confirms leave approved until further notice. The school wants signatures for access restrictions. I type yes to both. Done. We clear security and find the assigned floor. A deputy guides me into a waiting room. He hands me a printed order draft. Names redacted except the respondent. Unmistakable. Cousin arrives with sister 2 minutes later. They sit across from me without chatter. We trade a single nod that holds. The clock marks each tick. Deliberate. A clerk opens the door and calls us. We file into a modest hearing chamber. The judge looks over the file quickly. Counsel appears by video, prepared. The judge asks for a concise timeline first. I give dates and the latest acts. Cousin follows with her retraction on record. Her voice stays clear, steady. Defense dials in for the respondent's appearance. Silence stretches, then an automated message plays. No connection established at this time. The judge frowns. Proceed without him. Counsel moves for a temporary protective order. The judge scans the exhibits without pause. He signs and sets the review date. The deputy seals copies. Enforceable now. We step into the corridor amid murmurs. A reporter waits with a list of questions. Sister shields cousin with her body angled. I lift a hand. One question. What do you need from this town? Truth carried with the same volume. No whispers, no half versions, no hedging. The camera light blinks, captured. My phone vibrates with a family group alert. Uncle requests a private lunch nearby. Mother replies with one line only. Not without counsel present, boundary. Counsel messages me with a short plan. We meet in a conference room downstairs. He wants devices connected for quick cloning. I agree and power everything up. Ready. Technicians pull images while we review drafts. They highlight distribution lists and timestamps. Every send path mirrors last night's actions. We add 2 outlets, regional and national. A knock interrupts and an officer enters. Search team recovered a written playbook. Printed prompts matching coaching in the clips. He places photos on the table. Damning. Counsel circles 3 lines with a capped pen. These show intent plus repeated misconduct. He drafts a referral for prosecutors immediately. I initial each page measured. Another alert flashes on my screen suddenly. The respondent posted a rant from a burner. He floats new claims and names random targets. Counsel smiles thinly. Thank you, sir. We push a response through official channels. Statement cites the court order and exhibits. We link the signed retraction and logs. The post goes live timestamped. Mother texts a screenshot from the family thread. An aunt asks for forgiveness in writing. Another offers to fund therapy sessions. I breathe once and answer later. Not now. We break for a quick hallway update. An investigator briefs us on charges pending. Harassment, extortion, and contempt in queue. Arraignment set for later, transport underway. Cousin steps close and keeps her eyes firm. I will attend every hearing going forward. No more wavering and no more delays. Sister squeezes her hand. Agreement. Our group moves back into the courtroom. The judge returns for a brief clarification. He tightens the distance rule around residences. He notes violations trigger immediate custody. Unmistakable. Outside, weather shifts and people hurry faster. Counsel waves for a quick sidewalk statement. We deliver 1 paragraph and step back. Cameras shout for more. Denied. My phone rings with a supervisor's ringtone. They offer security at tomorrow's shift. I accept with grateful caution and pause. Send the checklist. I'll comply. A deputy escorts us to a side exit. He checks corners and keeps a measured pace. A sedan waits for transport to interviews. We divide seats and buckle in a quiet. The station conference room smells like fresh toner. Producers arrange microphones and prepare questions. They hand me topics and time limits. I scan the list focused. The red light powers on without warning. First question cuts straight through my chest. What healed and what still hurts? I lean forward and choose precise words, boundaries. I describe the order and the process. I stop short of personal details. I name restitution, not reconciliation. I end with one promise: accountability. We finish the segment and step into hallways. Sister checks her phone and exhales slowly. The retraction post is trending regionally now. Support pours in from unexpected places. Surprising. Cousin's screen lights with a courthouse number. She listens, nods, and covers the receiver. He's in custody for violating conditions. Pickup happened at noon, immediate. Mother arrives with a small paper bag. She passes out granola and bottled water. Eat something before the next round. We chew and keep moving agenda. Counsel gathers us for a strategy huddle. He outlines statements for employers and neighbors. He assigns follow-ups and sets short deadlines. I take the toughest calls. Deliberate. A door opens and the facilitator appears. He carries a fresh stack of acknowledgments. Community groups signed on to the notice. He hands copies around witnessed. We relocate to a civic center auditorium. A forum begins with a moderator's gavel. Public comments open with strict timekeeping. I sit in the front row, present. A former neighbor steps to the microphone. He admits sharing rumors during that period. He apologizes without excuse and lowers his head. The moderator thanks him. Next. Another voice asks a pointed question quickly. How can we repair what we broke? I stand and face the seat squarely. Redirect the energy to prevention. Start tonight. The forum adopts 3 actions by vote. Hotline cards in every lobby tomorrow. Training for volunteers before weekend events. Scholarship fund under my cousin's terms. Unanimous. My phone buzzes again with courthouse updates. Bail denied due to repeated defiance. Hearing moved up to the morning. We mark calendars and pack bags, onward. Outside, dusk pushes people toward home and shelter. I step aside as a child walks past. His parent nods with a grateful expression. I nod back, message received. Cousin approaches with a new determination. I want to address the family directly. Not a group chat, a room. I meet her gaze. I'll attend. We secure a venue through the civic office. A volunteer unlocks the side entrance swiftly. Chairs line up as relatives trickle in. The air tightens on contact, fragile. I start with a short statement on boundaries. No gifts, no hugs, no rewriting. Listen first and sign acknowledgments after. The room goes still, rules set. Uncle stands and raises a trembling hand. He confesses to forwarding emails for clout. He signs an acknowledgement without anyone prompting. He sits down hard, contained. Two cousins follow with written apologies. They hand copies to counsel for records. They ask what else they can do. Cousin answers firmly, volunteer hours. A holdout clears his throat and stares. He doubts the evidence despite everything shown. Cousin opens the video on the projector. The room watches his instructions, undeniable. He lowers his eyes and grips the chair. He signs his page with slow strokes. He looks toward me but stays seated. I nod once. That's enough. Mother stands with a clipboard near the exit. She collects signatures and checks each line. She thanks people without promising closeness. I watch the pens move verification. Counsel stacks the forms and seals envelopes. He stamps a receipt for the entire packet. He hands me a clean copy for safekeeping. I slide it into my folder, anchored. A final knock lands at the back door. The officer enters with measured authority. He shares a brief status on processing. Court at 9 sharp. Attendance required. We empty the hall and lock the door. Sister hooks her arm through mine gently. Hotel or mother's place tonight? Hotel again, protocols. In the lobby, my phone starts buzzing nonstop. Old classmates send apologies and support. Some confess to posting years ago. I flag each message for follow-up. Later. Upstairs, I spread documents across the desk. I tape a checklist to the laptop lid. Call counsel. Print orders. Charge devices. I breathe out and keep moving, disciplined. An email arrives with one simple attachment. The school confirms protective measures activated. Visitor logs will flag the respondent instantly. I forward to cousin, relief. Another note pings from the news desk. They're running the story with documents embedded. They request a final quote before publishing. I send one line, truth multiplied outward. The phone vibrates with a fresh voicemail icon. A relative I haven't heard from in years. Her voice cracks, then steadies between words. I was wrong. I'm ready to listen. I save it and stare at the ceiling. The last 10 years line up quietly. Pieces click where they refused before. Tomorrow I walk into court. Upright,